Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that feels like it's pulled straight from the pages of science fiction. We're going to talk about how a machine can actually learn to read our emotions just by listening to us speak.
It's a really good question, right? I mean, think about it. An AI doesn't have a heart, it doesn't have memories, it has no feelings of its own. So, how on earth can it tell if you're happy or sad, or maybe just a little annoyed? Well, the answer is actually really, really clever. You see, the AI isn't trying to feel what you feel. It can't. Instead, it acts like a kind of digital detective. Its whole job is to look for clues, analyze all the evidence it can find, and then build a case to figure out the most likely emotion you're expressing.
Okay, so let's get into it. The number one rule for our digital detective here is to stay completely objective. Its mission isn't to have empathy, it's to analyze. And its investigation always starts with the only evidence it has access to: your speech.
Now, this whole investigation boils down to two very different but super important kinds of clues. The easiest way to think about it is it's what you say and it's how you say it. And both of these give the AI a critical piece of the emotional puzzle.
So, first up, our detective looks at what we call linguistic cues. These are just the words themselves, and they're usually the most obvious piece of the puzzle. If you say something is fantastic or miserable, you're pretty much handing the AI a massive clue right on a silver platter.
And it's pretty straightforward. On one side, you've got these positive keywords that just scream joy or satisfaction. On the other, you have the negative ones that point to things like anger or sadness. The AI has been trained on just enormous libraries of text, so it's gotten really good at recognizing the emotional weight behind all of these words. But here's the thing. Words are only half the story. The detective work gets a lot more subtle when the AI starts looking at the acoustic cues. Now, it's not just listening to your words anymore, it's analyzing the actual music of your voice. The pitch, the speed, the loudness. And this is where it all comes together so beautifully. Just take a simple word like sure. If you say it with a high pitch and a quick pace, sure. It sounds enthusiastic, but if you slow it down, drop the pitch, sure. That same exact word suddenly sounds reluctant. The word didn't change, but the acoustic clues totally flipped its meaning.
So, our detective has all these clues: the words you used and the way you said them. What happens next? Well, now it's time to connect the dots and see what kind of story all this evidence is telling.
The process is actually very logical. The AI gathers the evidence, both the words and the sounds. It identifies the most important clues, like specific keywords or a sudden change in pitch. Then it compares those patterns to this gigantic database of human voices that have already been labeled with emotions. And based on that comparison, it makes its final deduction and assigns what it thinks is the most probable emotion. But, even the best detectives can get thrown for a loop. And the AI's number one nemesis? Sarcasm. Our brains have no problem with it. We hear a positive word like great, but in a flat, monotone voice, and we instantly get that the person means the opposite. For the AI, though, those clues are contradictory. The word is positive, but the tone is negative, and that can just confuse it, often leading to a simple neutral reading. Okay, so after all that analysis, what does the AI's final report actually look like? And, maybe more importantly, why does any of this matter in the real world?
Well, the output isn't just a simple label like happy. It's actually a statistical breakdown, a probability report. So the AI might say, okay, based on the evidence, there's an 85% chance this is joy, maybe a 10% chance it's surprise, and a 5% chance it's neutral. It's all about calculated likelihoods. And this is way more than just a cool party trick. This technology is already being used in some pretty powerful ways. Think about a customer service bot that can tell you're getting frustrated and automatically hands you over to a real person, or a voice assistant that can respond more appropriately to your tone. It's even being explored for tools that could help monitor mental health, just by listening for those tiny, subtle clues in our voices. So if you remember just one thing from this explainer, let it be this. Our digital detective is an incredible pattern matcher. It's a master of calculation. But it doesn't feel a thing, and that is a world of difference. And that really brings us to the final big question. As these systems get better and better, more sophisticated at calculating and then mimicking our emotions, will that line start to blur? Will we reach a point where a perfectly calculated response becomes indistinguishable from a genuinely empathetic one? Now that is something to think about.